I'm going to play an audio demo of speech compression technology from the early 1970s. It's kind of interesting as a time capsule of technology from those days. My father brought this tape home from work around 1971. Back then it was quite amazing to hear compressed speech. The machine that did the compression worked by copying a cassette tape while starting and stopping the recording tape. It cost about $1,000 back in 1971. Today, a quick click on settings and anyone can instantly adjust YouTube or podcast audio up to twice the normal rate. And you can speed up video just as easily. Parts of the audio on the tape are not very good. That probably has more to do with an imperfect cassette copy that was stored for 40 years than with the voice compression machine. Other than this tape, I've never heard of this device before or since, so this is probably a pretty rare recording.
For the next few minutes, I'd like to talk to you about a concept and a machine that are so revolutionary, they may well change your whole idea of how to use audio tapes for instructional and business purposes. The concept is time-compressed and time-expanded speech. The machine is the Voice Compressor Model 1, or VOCOM 1, developed by PKM Corporation. Time-compressed or time-shortened speech has been of academic interest for many years. The principle behind the speeded speech is simple. The average person can understand speech which is much more rapid than can be produced by normal speaking. The idea is to process this normal speech and produce faster tapes which retain natural voice quality and match more closely the understanding rate of the listener. The listener can then hear more material in the same amount of time. And studies have shown that comprehension is actually greater with rapid speech, as the listener hears the complete message, concentrates, and is no longer bored by agonizingly slow speed. Let me show you just what I mean. The speech you are now hearing has been compressed a modest amount to about 75% of the original time using VOCOM 1. You'll notice that although the rate seems somewhat faster, you have no trouble in understanding what I'm saying. In fact, you'll probably sense that your attention is sharpened now that my speech is at a more rapid than normal rate. And even with this barely noticeable amount of compression, you'd be able to save 1/4 of the time it would normally take you to hear the recorded message. My speech will again be reproduced at normal speed. Time-expanded or lengthened speech is speech at rates much slower than normal. While the average listener would find the slower rates absolutely intolerable, it can be very useful in many specialized applications. Consider the secretary who could not match her typing speed to the normal speaking rate, but would be able to type dictation directly if it were at 1/2 or 1/3 of normal speed, but with natural voice quality. Or perhaps the foreign language student would like to hear pronunciation slowly and carefully to perfect his skills. Or you may be involved with the education of slow learners, for which normal speech rates might be a problem. This only begins to describe some of the possible applications of slowed-down speech. Let me show you what this kind of speech might sound like. My speech is now being reproduced using VOCOM 1 at half my normal speaking rate. For regular listening, this is sheer boredom. But if you're a typist, try and see how easy it is to keep up with my words. Notice that voice quality, tone, and pitch were unchanged in both compression and expansion, and thus high intelligibility was maintained. Perhaps by now you can see some of the advantages and usefulness of both time-compressed and time-expanded speech. Perhaps you're already getting excited about the ways in which you could immediately use this kind of speech modification in your work, in education, in information dissemination, or in business. Many others who have been introduced to this speech in the last several years have had the same reaction. However, they soon were disappointed when they found out that the only machine which could produce this kind of speech cost over $4,000 for all the necessary equipment. Furthermore, the machines were somewhat bulky and difficult to maintain and use. The engineers and scientists at PKM Corporation decided that the advantages of time-compressed and expanded speech could be made available to everyone if the right machine were built. In the development of VOCOM 1, they found that a fundamentally different technique of speech compression and expansion would result in a machine superior to previously available or proposed speech compressors. The earlier speech compressors discarded portions of speech at regular intervals, disregarding completely the content of the discarded segments. This resulted in shot speech, where intelligibility dropped rapidly as listening time was reduced. However, the designers of VOCOM 1 recognized the fact that in attempting to speak faster, a person first shortens the pauses between his words and syllables, and at more rapid rates, shortens the long vowel sounds in his speech. By selectively deleting portions of pauses and vowel sounds, VOCOM 1 produces rapid speech that has excellent voice quality and is highly intelligible, even at a fraction of the original recording time. The machine is rugged, portable, and as easy to use as any standard tape recorder. But most importantly, it is priced at a fraction of the cost of previous machines, making it easy for you to put this concept to work immediately. By now, you can see that this new concept has come of age, and the people at PKM Corporation want to help you get started in using these techniques in your work. For more details on time-modified speech, an applications bulletin is available from PKM Corporation, which describes in detail the various techniques of speech compression and expansion, and has details and references of how others have successfully applied these methods in their work. A compression service is also available from PKM Corporation, where you can get some of your own material processed by VOCOM 1 for a very moderate charge. Then you can demonstrate to yourself and your associates with your own tapes that the purchase of VOCOM 1 by your organization will save you time and money and improve your efficiency in using audio tapes. I want to prove to you how easy it is to adjust to listening to VOCOM 1 compressed speech. In a matter of just a few short minutes, you'll complete a speed listening course, which will probably provide you with all the training you will ever need for listening to rapid speech. My speech was first recorded at normal speed and was then processed by VOCOM 1 to produce rapid speech, compressed to different rates. The speech now is being reproduced in 75% of the original time at a rate of about 186 words per minute. You'll notice the speech is perfectly natural and has excellent voice quality. The compression is hardly noticeable. You will cut the size and cost of your audio tape library by 1/4 by compressing your tapes to this rate. Let's speed up the rate to 60% of the original time. Normal speaking rates of 110 to 160 words per minute severely limit your listening efficiency to only 1/3 of your capacity. It has been established by a number of researchers that we are capable of listening with full comprehension at rates of 400 words per minute or greater. Think of how much more you could accomplish in the extra time you save while listening to that talk, sales meeting, or lecture in less than half the original time. Perhaps you pay people to listen to tapes as part of a training program. What's their time worth to you? In this example of rapid VOCOM 1 speech, the pauses are being greatly short, but the spoken words are unchanged. For many applications in the audio tutorial method, this rate is quite adequate. The students not only save time, but their learning is much better at accelerated rates because rapid speech demands and increases concentration. It has been reported by Gloria J. Boyle of the University of Missouri that, quote, in concentrated lecture presentations, note-taking hinders the learning process. If the student is freed from this task with reassurance of a compressed copy for later review purposes, more can be gleaned from the initial lecture, unquote. Very rapid speech, which follows next, is invaluable for reviewing facts you are somewhat familiar with. But you can quickly learn to listen to new material at this rate. The excerpt is from the book Listening and Speaking by Ralph Nichols and Thomas Lewis. It requires close listening and concentration. Ready? Here we go. Today, there is a real awakening in education to the importance of listening. That is, to the importance of learning through listening. In every state of the Union, people in business or education are recognizing that the real function of listening is to learn, that the all-important central contribution to be made to individual growth and development is that of making learning easier, more pleasant, and more economical. The origin of much of our current interest is traceable to the published report in 1940 of a most impressive piece of research done at Columbia University. The following generalization by its author, Dr. Harry Goldstein, drew considerable attention. As he put it, in our society, reading and listening constitute the basic tools of learning, as well as the prime media of social intercourse. In the fulfillment of these roles, the importance of reading has never been questioned. More recently, the significance of listening is receiving increased attention. Shortly after, Richard Hubble concluded on the basis of his studies that 98% of all that we learn in our lifetime, we learn either through our eyes or through our ears. His declaration threw a spotlight on a somewhat overlooked organ, the ear, and general interest deepened. The National Council of Teachers of English produced a pamphlet titled Skill in Listening, in which it was declared, just as we see need for continuous instruction in reading through all grades, including the high school, so we recognize the type of critical listening that we desire in our pupils must be developed by carefully graded training from very simple exercises. It will not be achieved by a few lectures on listening or listening to conversation assignments or a short radio unit lasting 2 weeks, useful as these can be. More than a score of leading colleges and universities started to teach listening as a regular classroom subject for the first time. Various branches of the military service became concerned with proficiency in this skill. and a number of industries started to explore the possibility of in-service training programs to improve the performance of their employees. Most of the new speech tests appearing on the market included a chapter on listening. Interest ran high, but adding most of all, perhaps, to the movement was the advent of communication skills programs as substitutes for traditional courses in college freshman English. Most of these programs emphasize that the process of communication is predominantly composed of 4 skills: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. In most instances, the directors have instituted units of instruction in the first 3 skills, and then have appointed committees to study listening comprehension and to report what kind of training in this mode of assimilation should be included in attempts to improve the overall process of communication. These committees and the reports they are making continue to prod us toward new questions and new answers. Rankin's research, discussed in the foreword, revealed that of the total time devoted to verbal communications by adults, 45% is spent in listening and only 16% in reading. Quantitatively, the importance of listening has probably never been in question. To sum it all up, there is no denying that interest in the skill of listening, ways and means of improving listening comprehension, is currently intense. And there seems to be every promise of still further growth. The first published volume of the Curriculum Commission of the National Council of Teachers of English is having tremendous influence in setting the new direction of all language arts instruction. Their recommendations stress the need for training in listening in the future, with an emphasis equal to that given any other of our 4 basic communication skills. The previous paragraphs were from Listening and Speaking by Nichols and Lewis. You are again listening to speech reproduced in 60% of the original time. I'm sure you'll agree that this sounds slower now. In the short time of about 3 minutes, you have learned to absorb information at this rapid rate. Just think of the time you save. Time is money. And don't forget, the same cassettes hold twice the material they held before. That's money saved, too. Back to normal speech. Now that you are accustomed to rapid speech, you can see how bored you could get listening at this rate. You are now ready to listen to any material at rapid rates and make more effective use of your time. Your friends and associates would also like to make more efficient use of their time. Introduce them to this exciting new concept by letting them take this short course in speed listening prepared using VOCOM 1, the Speech Compressor Expander by PKM Corporation. Thank you for listening.